roadman in Istanbul, Turkey. I am on Istiklal Avenue. It is a famous pedestrian street in the middle of Istanbul on the European side. Today's November 13th, right? Or could someone check that? I believe it is November 13th. It is a Sunday evening here, and about 1 hour ago, maybe a little more than that, there was an explosion in the middle of Istiklal Avenue. You can see in back of me there's a police line. I was just a little closer to it. I wasn't actually at the scene when it happened, but police are telling me to basically move on. You can hear helicopters overhead. When I was just over closer to there were ambulances coming and going from the scene. There's a large police presence. By all indications, there are people wounded. I have seen certain reports, early reports, suggesting numbers of how many wounded, but I can't confirm that. I wasn't right at the scene, but as you can see, I got pretty close, and now I basically need to back off from there as the police line is expanding in both directions. Istiklal is connected to Taksim Square, which is basically the central square of Istanbul on the European side. And this is a huge, famous pedestrian street, one of the most famous pedestrian streets in the entire world, I would say. It gets a huge amount of foot traffic. There are lots and lots of shops, well-known brands, cafes, restaurants, bars, you name it, all in this area. And it does appear that there, at the very least, are people wounded, if not killed, but I can't give you any confirmation of that. Turkey, over the years, has dealt with, unfortunately, a large amount of terrorism. I can't tell you yet if this is if it indeed is a terror attack, but for the past 5 or so years, as you can see, police with shields and helmets walking behind me, headed toward the scene. For I'd say 5 or so years, the terror problem in Turkey had calmed down significantly. So if you go back to around, there are helicopters, at least one helicopter circling overhead. Again, I cannot confirm that this indeed is a terror attack, but what I was going to say, going back 5 years or so, particularly in 2016, but I guess also a bit in 2017, there were very frequent terror attacks in major population centers in Turkey, including Istanbul, including the capital, Ankara, and elsewhere. There's, for years, been conflict in the largely Kurdish. Thank you for the update. Anyone can chime in with whatever news that they're seeing. I obviously cannot confirm, though, any numbers, reports about specific casualties. But I was going to say, there, for years had, to some extent, has been conflict in the largely Kurdish southeast of Turkey, but in 2016